We have to find somebody that'll work with us that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business. We're losing.
Diddy's career could be doomed since 50 Cent released the jail audio of Diddy and the internet went crazy. Everyone was curious about 50's next move. Additionally, he made it apparent that everything we've seen so far could only be the beginning as he spoke about his Netflix documentary project, Sean Combs' The Reckoning. He plans to release additional cassettes.
Is there other stuff that you just have not shown?
Yeah, well, everything couldn't make there's only 4 episodes.
Right.
So it was a lot, you had to pick and choose things, like even in an area where he chooses to date people who he knows previously dated someone. He has a baby by a woman that was dating Tupac.
Wow.
To add to it, but we had to cut it down so it could.
For time.
Yeah.
So are you coming out? I know next year is gonna be a number 2, season 2.
Or I just put it on YouTube.
I just put it on YouTube.
Yes, it is correct. 50 recently made a suggestion that additional Diddy footage might be made publicly accessible on YouTube. Diddy's subsequent exposure for attempting to intimidate and influence a jury is perhaps the largest and most damning revelation to have surfaced online since this 50 Cent interview. These are the specifics.
Well, Diddy was recording because he thought he was about to beat the case. So he wanted to do a Netflix documentary. Didn't pay the guy, and then 50 got all 140 hours of footage of secret Diddy tactics. Well, there's a guy named Neil who was mentioned in the court, works right up under Diddy, was organizing everything. Allegedly, they are saying that he is on video, film, tampering with witnesses, giving out addresses, offering money, bribing, we'll pay for your lawyers, all kind of shit that could be counted as witness tampering, obstruction of justice. And 50, of all people, has his hands on this footage. And I'm hearing that this could implicate Diddy's lawyers in some bullshit. They could be charged. This shit is getting wild. And I'm hearing that this 50 Cent documentary is just the fucking tip of the iceberg.
This guy in this video said one specific name, and it was Neil, and it automatically made me think of Neil Dominique. Everything that we just covered the other day that came out from Diddy's former chef, Jordan, who was going to be a witness testifying against Diddy in the criminal trial. You remember she just took to her Instagram calling out Neil Dominique, saying that he was basically the one to give Diddy information that she was testifying to the grand jury. She has been claiming for a while when she testified to this grand jury on April 2nd of 2024, just 2 weeks later, Diddy's attorney would text her saying, "Dear Chef Jordan, this is Aaron Dyer. I'm Sean Combs' attorney. I left you a voicemail last week, but wanted to follow up. I have been told you have been contacted by law enforcement and might want an attorney to represent you." So that man in this video was basically saying that 50 Cent has video footage of Diddy talking to these people and setting this up to go after witnesses.
The most bizarre aspect is that 50 Cent is now expressing this himself. When people began discussing it, he immediately disclosed that he had 140 hours of film. He even said on the internet, "Yes, I have the footage, LOL." Everyone was startled by that alone. However, it becomes much more bizarre. Since then, he has even continued to discuss the reasons for his decision to attack Diddy in this manner.
Just telling this as clear as I don't have any reserve, like the fear that they would actually have towards him. I don't think he's special.
It turns out that many individuals who had declined to participate in previous films eventually consented to appear for this one because they trusted 50 and were no longer afraid to talk.
People in this docuseries that wasn't in the previous docs that you saw, because they said, no, I'm gonna do that one because 50, that's gonna be the big one. Because I'm not scared of none of that. Like I think it's just the way I was brought up. I don't really register those things. I've been through way more extreme things than these people. I look at the project, it's just another project to me, and they can look and create reasoning for it. It could be their personal take on why it's the way it is, but if they watch the docuseries itself, they'll understand it's been done tastefully and it is the best version of a docuseries that you'll see on this. Well, he is a big part of the culture. Like he's he made it to a respectable position within culture. any smart person would pick their fights. And you say, I don't really get anything out of it. It's not my business anyway, so then why say something about it? Like, the docuseries is me putting together people who had different experiences and letting them tell their truth, right? And a lot of things come out that make clarity for you in a different way to it. But I only was comfortable saying stuff about him because I've been saying it for 20 years. I've said it since that day. That day, I'm like, what? Nah.
Getting video from Diddy's last days before to his arrest and indictment was one of the most significant events for him. It was an intense and startling experience to see that raw material for the first time. 50 claims that
was really fascinating.
A journalist would ask that, but a journalist would also say, I'm gonna keep my sources secure, but but I got it. They can blame it on me that it's that. I think he's gonna actually like the project. He's gonna see that it was done fair, the perspective. Because he's gonna see too many people or he'll be consumed by what his personal experience was with each individual that's saying things about him because he lived these things. She's gonna understand it. You can interview her following that and I'll do the interview with her. I'll make sure I put it together. Yeah, because I had communications with her, to understand it, what's going on. And even though she's not in the docuseries, it was important I spoke to her to understand how things transpired. The husband, I spoke to him away from her, separate individual communications, and then see things kind of match up. Like when people say things, I go, oh, okay, I hear what you said, but if you hear things multiple times from people, different people, it kind of rings true to you. He got old real fast. His hair was jet black, like mine, and the next day he was like a full. All I saw from him was the raccoon pictures from the courtroom. When they drew him, it was looked like a raccoon.
Suddenly, 50 Cent returned to the limelight with proof. The one thing he loves most, actual receipts. And he's telling everyone that you're not competing at his level if you're not producing a documentary about the demise of your adversary. Heck, 50 even discussed why Diddy's circle of celebrities hasn't said anything about it. 50 had been quietly and painstakingly gathering everything he could on Diddy for years, waiting for the ideal opportunity. And that time has finally arrived. Shouting at his attorneys from behind jail walls, Diddy is incarcerated. Additionally, he is unable to stop the 1950s documentary from becoming viral. Diddy's attorneys have previously tried. They released a statement denouncing the documentary as unlawful and even demanded that Netflix remove it. One significant issue that was left out of the documentary was the death of a close friend of Diddy's, someone whose demise Diddy caused. Jones, Anthony Wolf, Diddy's former bodyguard. Gene Deal recently blasted the documentary for completely excluding him and came out about Diddy's involvement in the killing of his bodyguard, Wolf. He denied that Big Jake's murder, as some have said, was the catalyst for the animosity between the East and West Coasts. Gene maintains that everyone involved is aware that Wolf was not the shooter who murdered Jake. Wolf, who oversaw Puff's security and operations, had said, unequivocally, that he would not fly until his squad was completely safe. He had told Puff and Kirk Burrows, among others, that he wouldn't get anywhere without the right help.
And Kirk Burrows called me up. He's like, yo, Gene, you and Wolf, I got y'all tickets to LA. I said, all right, cool. So I go down there and I pick up the tickets to LA. I got Wolf ticket. So I'm calling Wolf up. I said, yo, Wolf, I got your ticket to go to LA. And Wolf said, I ain't going. I said, what you mean you ain't going? He said, yo, Gene, I ain't gonna tell you how I'm making I ain't gonna tell you how to make your money, but I'm gonna let you know this. I told Puff and them if they wasn't gonna take 2 tour buses of my niggas out there with us, I'm not going. Wolf is the head of all the functions that has to do with Puff dealing with security. I have my own contract with Puff, yeah. Paul Offord ran Green Gate Security, which is the daily operations of Puff stuff. That's his house, his cars, his transportation. He ran the office, the bad boy office, the clothing, all that shit. He ran the deli operation with his security. Wolf is over whatever's happening with Puff. You understand? Wolf tells Puff and them and tell Kirksborough and them, no, if y'all not going out there right, nobody should go out there at all.
Wolf tragically lost his life while managing security issues and defending Puff. Gene underlined that the documentary entirely omitted this crucial aspect of the narrative, including Wolf's affiliation with BMF.
So Wolf did not and was not going anywhere that had to do with California. And it wasn't because of the Jake situation. It was that he wanted to be safe, and the only way he felt safe if he was going out there with the dudes from his clique. And that was the Valley Mob. That's the only way. Wolf ended up losing his life behind Puff and his bullshit. And people they didn't even put that in the documentary. Wolf ended up losing his life behind Puff and his bullshit. And that bullshit was with BMF. That's a big segment in my book that I wrote that whole shit. I wrote a whole big situation in my book regarding that, Mighty. And I know you're doing this. I want to say that right there because I was there the night that Meech had promised Puff, you know what I'm saying? He ain't have to worry about Suge Knight. He ain't have to worry about nobody from this point on. And telling Puff some shit like that made him think that he could talk to Wolf any kind of way. Because if anybody knew, BMF was powerful back then. They had dudes from everywhere. And Meech telling him he ain't have to worry about nobody no more, it made Puff think that he could tell Wolf that he didn't need Wolf no more. And one thing led to the next.
Gene's argument is straightforward. Wolf's demise wasn't only an unfortunate incident. It was closely related to the industry's dynamics and the choices made by people in authority. And the documentary did not give it the attention it deserved. In reaction to the documentary, Diddy and his family are reportedly contemplating a hefty $1 billion defamation lawsuit, possibly the biggest in history. Despite all of that, 50 Cent pointed out that filing a lawsuit would require demonstrating that the documentary's claims are untrue. That might lead to further issues and open a large door. Diddy is having financial difficulties. Despite his affluence, he finds it exhausting to keep up with the constant legal disputes, appeals, and attorneys. It will be more difficult for him to maintain the lifestyle he is used to without additional money, and that could be the true punishment. Diddy's true issue is that he covertly taped private discussions with Mark Agnello, his attorney, who had successfully represented him in court. That is a serious betrayal. In order to communicate openly and safeguard their clients by permitting a third party to be there and recording such discussions, attorneys depend on client confidentiality and privilege. Diddy totally betrayed that confidence.
Mark Garagos, who is my co-host on Two Angry Men, he's represented Diddy for years, and his daughter is part of the Agnifilo defense team, and he was involved in all of this. So in this past weekend's podcast, I pushed him to find out how Agnifilo really feels here, and Mark kind of skirted it some, but I think you get the sense.
Diddy knew that Mark was being recorded, but Diddy didn't tell Mark. Does Mark feel betrayed by Diddy?
I've not talked to Mark about it.
What do you think? What do you think?
I will tell you I'll just tell you, if it was me, I would be more than a little upset. I was more than a little upset when the client didn't know and I was being recorded. I mean, there was a while there where I was meeting clients under bridges, freeway bridges, because I was PTSD over it. So I think, as a lawyer, it is one of the most inviolate oaths that you take to protect the client confidentiality and the client privilege. So I don't know, I haven't talked to Mark, but if I were Mark, I would be out of my head.
Out of my head.
It's incredible. Diddy did two things here. Number one, he betrayed Mark Agnifilo, who, to your point, did so much for him. Obviously, without Mark Agnifilo, may very well be spending the rest of his life in prison. The second thing that he did is, by having a third party that's privy to the conversation, the videographer in this case standing there, there's no privilege, right? Diddy waived that entire privilege. Now, it didn't end up backfiring because it seems nobody knew about it until the end of trial, and what are you gonna do at this point? But it's such a callous act by Diddy to just sell out his lawyer like that. It's so selfish.
The startling facts regarding Diddy's criminal business and actions have continued to surface ever after he made this terribly foolish error. The documentary intercuts video from this period in which Diddy is seen on the streets, pausing to snap pictures with individuals who approach him, mostly guys. After giving so many embraces, he suddenly quips that he needs a bath and hand sanitizer, stating, "That's what I have to do. It is comparable to 150 hugs. Do you sense me? Regarding what's happening out here, we have to be realistic. Now is the moment to purify." In a different clip, Diddy discusses hiring an editor to compile footage of Don Richard, a former member of his groups Danity Kane and Diddy Dirty Money. Don Richard has filed a civil lawsuit against Diddy, alleging sexual assault, battery, unfavorable working conditions, and low pay. In the video, she talks favorably about her relationship with Diddy. Don has a very excellent reason to talk poorly of him, in case you guys were unaware. Therefore, it is very terrible for Diddy to even want to convey the contrary.
She was officially on the stand for 20 minutes. She will continue on Monday, but before I tell you what she testified to, I do want to give you a warning that she does talk about violence and abuse. Started off with Dawn testifying that she was working with Diddy from 2004 until 2011. She opens up about an incident she witnessed in 2009 when she went to Diddy's home in order to record. She said her and Cassie were downstairs when they heard Diddy yelling and coming down saying, "Where the F are my eggs?" He said Diddy grabbed the skillet full of eggs and tried to hit Cassie on the head, and she went down in a fetal position. He was punching and kicking Cassie before he put his arm around her neck. Diddy then grabbed her by the hair and dragged her up the stairs, and she was in shock. She said she was so in shock she did not intervene, nor did she call the police. Next day, she said Diddy locked her and another person in the recording studio and threatened them. In her own words, he said what we saw was what lovers in passionate relationships do. He said Cassie was okay and it would be in our best interest if we didn't say anything. He claims that Diddy then said he was trying to get them to the top of the industry before threatening them by saying where he comes from, people go missing if they talk. Then after all of that, he got them flowers. Prosecutor then asked, "How did you understand that?" And she said, "Death." His attorney yelled objection, and then they had a sidebar. That's when attorneys from both sides will come up to the judge and whisper between one another and nobody else can hear.
If she witnessed, and she's saying that she witnessed a gangbang, which actually we know it as called a train. And she worked on the album, The Train to Paris. And like I heard one of the YouTube, it could be Tistel, say that we didn't know what the train to Paris meant. But now we know that the train of Paris was a train in Scotland, according to Dawn. It wasn't a train in Paris, it was a train in Scotland. Now, only time I ever witnessed Puff doing something is when two guys and two girls would go in the room. And that was just regular. And however they did it, whatever they did, that was their business. But he gotten bold enough, whereas that he would do that in front of Dawn and other people at a poolside in Scotland. You sure it was Scotland, man?
Yeah, that's what she said, man.
Scotland, Arizona, but not Scotland, the country.
Nah, she talking about the country, man.
Wow. I just think that, you know, man, you gotta go back to the drugs and the alcohol, man. The drugs and the alcohol, man. And those things that make you do strange things. And for somebody to somebody that's just gang banging an assistant, she might have a lawsuit now too. She might have a lawsuit too. Because you can't do that to people that work for you, bro.
The show also included audio from a 2008 Proffer interview with Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, who is still awaiting trial for Tupac Shakur's 1996 murder. Although it's not complete immunity, a proffer is essentially a legal arrangement that allows someone to speak with police enforcement and provide information without fearing that it would be used against them in court. Davis provides a thorough description in the documentary, alleging that Diddy set up Tupac's murder in exchange for $1 million.
Yeah, and he even said that, like, in retrospect, that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to Puffy. By Zip stealing the money, now Puffy isn't connected to that shit. Or else it would have been like a murder for hire or something, you know what I'm saying?
The FBI said Zip.
So the FBI told you the
They said he
same
was
thing?
a dirty motherfucker, yeah.
So the FBI told you that Zip kept that money as well?
They said Zip's a dirty motherfucker. Everybody crossed you. You're the last one to know every fucking thing. Even lawyers, your friends, everybody can cross your ass.
Is it evidence that Diddy did it? Not at all. This kind of interview or proffer doesn't show guilt in and of itself, but it can assist when we can put together the facts using the accused killer's own interviews.
What makes you say you lost your empire because of Puffy? Why you say that?
I did. Shit. If I wouldn't have never met him, I wouldn't have never been involved in this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? If I would have never met the brother, I would have never been involved in this bullshit. Really. Because me and Suge was playing on the same Pop Warner team and everything. My homeboys helped put Suge in the game and all that shit, you know? And it really crashed 2 people's empire that fucking one night. I'm saying, mine's for sure. Suge's too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, man. So you feel like Puffy, he's the reason for your empire and Suge empire going down because of the whole situation with Tupac.
Exactly. He the only one still balling. Shit. Yeah, he made our shit go down, man. Yeah, I ain't even met him over. He won't even look out or nothing, you know?
So break that down, man, for the people out there that don't know the backstory. What did Puffy do exactly to break down y'all empires?
Because he pitted us against each other, it seemed like he pitted us against each other. You know, which was kind of smart because we're Crips and Suge was Bloods. Like, you know what I'm saying? He just called me and Zip was rolling up Greenleaf one night. He called and asked, you think it's safe to come out here to do our concerts? And I just said, man, give me like 50 tickets. Each concert, we'll be out there with you. We'll go with you. We went to the concert in San Diego, went to the concert in Anaheim, Irvine Meadows, and the one in Las Vegas with them. Yeah, and back then they was just a startup coming up. You know what I'm saying? They didn't really have no money like that. We were balling. We was bosses.
The documentary delves into Did's history, his connection with his mother, his abusive prior relationships, and his thinking as he rose through the ranks of the music business.
This is a young man who grew up with street-funded privilege. After his father passed away, it's very clear that his mother kept on hustling and kept hanging around hustlers. Tim Dog has described the parties in the house: pimps, hoes, hustlers, models, basketball players. You got that kind of crowd. There's got to be a drug dealer or so there. Alcohol everywhere. There was a stage built in the living room, and they were asked to perform as kids. I mean, like, this is how he grew up. It was almost if he was designed to throw the parties that we'll later hear about. From the white parties to the parties overseas, with very, 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 very interesting things happening there, all the way to the freak-offs. It's like Sean Combs was in a never-ending party his whole life. Now, from a boy being draped in chinchilla to a boy running around the streets promoting parties, interning for Andre Harrell before he got a paid position. I mean, his life was like a whirlwind. It was almost like he was in too much of a rush to grow up. I mean, even the way Andre Harrell said he bullied his way into his home, coming up with some story about a fight between him and Janice and how he couldn't live with his mom anymore. And the next thing you know, he's living with Andre. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. In my opinion, I do not believe they were just roommates. I do not believe this was just a mentor-mentee relationship. In my opinion, from rumors that I've heard, from some things that might have been lost along the way, there was a much closer relationship between Andre and Puffy.
Additionally, it shows a trend of Diddy getting into dangerous, legally problematic, and emotionally sensitive situations and emerging unhurt. When taken as a whole, these disclosures are beginning to depict Diddy as a profoundly damaged and wicked man who voluntarily prolonged a traumatic cycle, harming several innocent individuals in the process.